Members, we're going to elect the chairman for the Home Affairs panel for 2012 and 13. Please note that under Rule 77(6) of the Rules of Procedure, a member who is the chairman or deputy chairman of a government advisory body in respect of matters which a panel considers to be directly related to the items of reference or to the terms of reference of the panel shall not be the chairman or deputy chairman of the panel. And subsection 7 also says that a member shall not be chairman or deputy chairman of more than one panel at the same time. And also under House Rules number 22 and Annex 4, whoever is to members are invited to elect the chairman or nominate the chairman of the panel. Any nomination, Mr. Ma Fung-kwok, do you accept the nomination, Mr. Ma? Any seconder? Ms. Dari Lee and Mr. Christopher Chung second. Any other nomination? If not, then Mr. Ma, you've been elected ipso facto. So please come over to chair the remaining parts of the meeting.
OK， 好，得，有晒啲嘢，係。但係我哋今唔使選副主席咩？係咯。OK， 好，即係開始請你。首先。
First of all, I'd like to thank you for your support. Now we are going to move on to another item. The next item is to elect the deputy chairman of the Home Affairs panel. Any nomination? Ms. Sito. I'd like to nominate Mr. Chen Ka-lok or Kenneth Chen. Yes? Mr. Peter Chung seconds. Any other nominations? If not, then Mr. Kenneth Chen, do you accept the nomination? I've been waiting for your question. I accept the nomination. All right, if there are no further nomination, then I declare that Mr. or Dr. Kenneth Chen has been elected the deputy chairman of the panel. Dr. Kenneth Chen. Okay. Item 2 on the agenda. Schedule of meetings for this year. The paper has been tabled before members. According to the suggestion by the Secretariat, our regular meeting should be held at 8:30 on every second Friday of the month. That's to follow the previous tradition. That is the tradition of the past term. That is 8:30 on the second Friday every month. So shall we accept that tentatively? But then there is a point that I'd like to raise. That is the meeting on the 12th of April. Meeting on the 12th of April, we propose that it be rescheduled to the 15th of April 2013, 8:30. Any objection? The reason that we have to change that, that's because it clashes with a special FC meeting. That's why we have to reschedule it. And accordingly, the Secretary has now suggested that we should reschedule it to the 15th of April 2013. It's a Monday. All right, if there are no objections, then we'll be circulating the meeting schedule to members afterwards. So for the regular meeting, it will be held on the second Friday every month at 8:30, except for the April meeting next year. It will be rescheduled to the 15th of April 2013. It's a Monday at 8:30. Thank you. All right. If there are no further questions, then we'll move on to the third item on the agenda. We have already got a proposed agenda that's been tabled, and can I refer members to that? Well, the administration has proposed that at our regular meeting in November, we'll be discussing the cultural work by the new term of government. So that's the item proposed by the administration. Yes, Ms. Sito. I understand that there are many outstanding items from the last term which have yet to be discussed. And on top of that, in the new term, we have yet to have new pieces of legislation being introduced into this council. So shall we have 1 or 2 additional meetings in order to clear up the backlog? Or else, given the fact that we have 17 items on the list, that's a problem. And also for social enterprises development, the administration will be promoting poverty alleviation and creating jobs. So with regard to cooperatives and also social enterprises in terms of their funding and financing, we have not been able to catch up with such developments. So I suggest that that be included on the list of outstanding items for discussion. So there are a few funds in place. So can we merge them? And also whether or not the guidelines for the granting of funds, will that be in line with the latest developments? Should there be room for modification and so on? So I think that would also be in line with the government's policy on poverty alleviation and creating jobs. Yes, with regard to the Social Enterprises Development Fund and also other related issues, generally speaking, that would be discussed by the Welfare Services panel. Shall we discuss that under that panel? In fact, it's related to both panels because some of the issues are related to home affairs. And therefore, I think one of the possible approaches is to have a joint panel meeting with the Welfare Services panel. And of course, the best thing is to invite deputations to come along, in particular those that are already in operation. They can share with us their actual first-hand experience. Do members agree with Ms. Sito's proposal? And if there is no objection, then I can take it up with the WSP's chairman to see if we can work out a joint panel meeting. All right? Is that agreeable? Yes, Ms. Starry Lee. Yes, Chairman, I have 2 points to suggest. I hope that you can take it up with the Bureau Director. Number 1, for the multi-purpose stadium at Kai Tak. Earlier on, it's been said that that item might be deleted from the Kai Tak development project. So I hope that you can check it up with the Bureau Director, and I hope that a paper can be provided to us. And also on ethnic minority groups and the support for them, because the Home Affairs Bureau is supposedly responsible for helping them in their daily lives. But then there are many ethnic minority groups who feel that they are not able to seek any help anywhere. And therefore, we will have to have a paper from the administration telling us how they are going to provide assistance to these ethnic minority groups. Mr. Wong Kwok Heng. Chairman, I have 2 items. I hope you can take them up with the administration and see if they can be discussed by the panel. Well, if you look at the list, we're going to discuss the issue of cultural work in a new term of government. I hope that when the administration come to brief us with regard to the proposal to set up a culture bureau, I hope that could also be one of the issues that the administration will be briefing us on. And the second issue is about Tin Shui Wai. In Tin Shui Wai, the administration intends to set up a bazaar, and I understand that earlier on at the FEH panel, it was raised by some colleagues, and they were told that that should come under the purview of the Home Affairs Bureau. So in Tin Shui Wai, while the administration plans to set up a bazaar, I hope that we can discuss that issue. At the same time, we can also invite the FEH panel members to come along to discuss the 2 issues together. Yes, we can take it up with the administration. Yes, Mr. Wu Chi Wai. Thank you, Chairman. I've read some of the items proposed by the administration. Apparently, building management or building property management that would be put lower down the priority list. There's a bill on property management services. I hope that the administration will brief us on the problems of building property management. And some of the duties of the liaison officers of district officers have been outsourced to other organizations right now. So I'd like to know more about this. So with regard to such a change in the organization of the Bureau's work, would that mean that the administration is trying to outsource some of its responsibilities with regard to property management? Given the fact that it's going to affect many sectors, I hope that we can have a discussion or an item on the list so that we'll be discussing issues in relation to property management at our regular meetings. Mr. Peter Chang, I suspect that at the next meeting, alright, there is only one item on the agenda right now. I agree with what Mr. Wong Kwok Heng just proposed. That is at the FEH panel, we said that we were concerned about the Tin Shui Wai Bazaar, and if we are able to discuss that in November, because the matter is progressing and it's going to be commissioned shortly. So I'd like to know the latest progress, and if we can also give some input to that, that would also be nice. And as proposed by Ms. Sit-Ho, is about the government's policy on social enterprises. Well, it should come under the HA Bureau, but then as to what the SWD would be doing, because some of these arrangements have to do with the NGOs, and therefore very often they will be reporting that to the WS panel. So my personal view is, if the two panels can have a joint panel meeting on that, that would also be appropriate. That's in response to Ms. Sit-Ho's suggestion. And there are 2 points that I'd like to raise about family policy. It should be under the HA Bureau, but then very rarely would we be discussing that. I'd like to know, that is, what's the government's view on family policy. And recently, with regard to the WKCDA, some professionals have raised some views. For example, we should have fewer high-rises, and we should go underground so that shopping centers can also be built underground. And I've read some reports on that. And EXCO so I'm referring to some members of the Executive Council, and apparently they are also inclined to thinking that going underground might have a point there. So that would mean that is going to be a totally different approach in terms of developing the site. So I wonder if we can have a discussion on that, because I don't know if the subcommittee on the WKCD will continue, because this is a new term. So this is my suggestion. All right, according to the Secretariat, for the 4th term of LegCo, it's been confirmed that the terms of reference of the WSP will cover both family policy and also, that is the family council, and also other issues. So I will discuss with the WSP to see if we should have a joint panel discussion on that. Yes, Mr. Kenneth Chan. Well, item 2 of the list says that we are going to have a discussion on the sports policy in December. I welcome that. But then in the when I made my preparation for discussing home affairs related issues, I've been asked by many deputations or voters to think about this. That is, we will have to review our long-term sports policy, in particular the reward system for our athletes. For the disabled athletes, they are encountering a lot of difficulties, the treatment for them and also the reward for them after they won prizes, the treatment to them would be far inferior to their peer able-bodied athletes, and therefore we will have to review that. And also for the governance of national sports associations and so on. So it's an age-old problem, and therefore in reviewing our sports policy, we will also have to cover all those issues. And thirdly, and of course, it's about the LCSD's venue and the hiring system, because in the past many people have booked those venues and there are a lot of concerns, and there have been reports by the Ombudsman making a series of recommendations, because it's not just about the elite athletes, it's also about the general public's access to such venues, because they would also like to do more exercise and make use of those venues. I hope that more preparation can be made by the administration before coming to discuss with us.
Ms. Claudia Mo, when it comes to sports policy, I hope the panel can at the same time pay attention to ethnic minorities and their favored sport, such as cricket, and the lack of venue for cricket. They have to suffer discrimination because they have to use other venues, and they have to use a rubbish bin for as a replacement of proper gear. So we have to pay attention to the lack of venue for their sports items. Other suggestions? All right, then we can adjourn here. Thank you.